The night was quiet, stars shining outside the glass windows of the station. The human sat alone at his small table, reading an old book he carried everywhere. He never expected that his life was about to change forever. She entered the hall like a wave of light, the alien beauty with silver skin and glowing eyes. Her walk was slow but full of power. Every other being turned to look at her, but she did not care for them. Her eyes were fixed on only one, him, the human. She had played this game many times before. She knew the effect she had on others. Her people were famous for bending hearts with their beauty, and she loved using it as her weapon. Tonight she had chosen a strange target, a human who seemed too calm for this world. He did not lift his eyes when she sat across from him. He kept reading as if she was not there. Her lips curved into a smile. No one ever ignored her, not once in her entire life. "You are different," she said softly, her voice like a melody. Others would have melted at the sound, but the human only turned one page of his book. He nodded but gave no answer. This small act burned inside her. She was not used to silence. She was used to praise, to desire, to hunger in every stare, but this man gave her nothing, and that nothing pulled her closer. She leaned forward, her hand brushing near his, a touch meant to spark fire. His skin was warm, but his reaction calm. He did not jump, he did not shake. He only looked up once with steady brown eyes. "Do you need something?" he asked, his voice simple and kind. Her heart skipped. Why was he not falling? Why was he not caught? She felt her control slipping. She tried again, her eyes glowing brighter, her lips parting in a careful smile. But his calm broke through all her tricks like light through smoke. The alien beauty felt a strange sting in her chest. This was not how it should be. She was supposed to win. She was supposed to make him want her. Yet it was she who felt unsteady, she who could not pull her eyes away. Others in the hall whispered. They thought she was toying with him. They thought the human was another prey, but the truth was starting to twist in a different way. He closed his book gently and stood up. "I should go," he said, his voice steady. He walked past her without fear, without desire, leaving her frozen at the table, her hand still reaching for what she did not have. The moment he left, she felt the fire grow stronger. She wanted more. She wanted to know why he did not look at her the way all others did. She wanted to break his calm, to make him see her, but more than that, she wanted to see him again. The alien beauty sat there, her breath shallow, her glowing eyes following his shadow until it was gone. She whispered to herself, "Why can I not stop thinking about him?" And in that moment, the game she thought she was playing had already begun to change. The human left the hall that night, walking slowly back to his small quarters. His book still in his hand, he did not know that behind him, glowing eyes were following in silence. The alien beauty could not rest. She told herself it was only a game, only curiosity, yet her steps betrayed her. She wanted to know where he lived, how he lived, what made him so calm when she tried to shake him. She watched from a distance as he entered a quiet corridor. His room was small, with only a bed, a table, and shelves filled with old books. There was no luxury, no decoration, just simple order. She tilted her head, puzzled. Why would anyone choose such plain life when the station was full of lights, music, and endless pleasure? The human sat at his desk, lit a small lamp, and opened his book again. The same calm face, the same steady eyes, as if the universe outside could not touch him. She pressed her hand to her chest, feeling something heavy there, something she could not name. Hours passed, but she did not leave. Her people would have laughed if they knew. An alien beauty hiding in shadows just to watch a man read. Her pride screamed at her to go, but her heart refused. When the lamp finally went dark, the human lay down and closed his eyes. She found herself still staring, wondering what dreams could exist in a mind so strong. The next day she returned. She followed him through the market. He did not buy jewels or fine clothes. Instead, he bought bread, fruit, and tools. He gave half of what he carried to an old alien beggar on the street. No hesitation, no desire for reward. He only smiled and walked away. Her chest burned again. This was not weakness. This was something else. She felt her own tricks melting inside her. Later, she saw him help a child who dropped her basket. He knelt, picked up every piece of fruit, and gave it back with a gentle smile. The mother thanked him with tears. The human bowed and walked away as if it was nothing. The alien beauty bit her lip. Her heart racing, she could not look away. She wanted to know why. She wanted to understand why this man did not need power or desire, why he lived so quietly and yet shone brighter than anyone she knew. That night, when he returned to his room, she stepped closer than before. He turned suddenly, his sharp eyes meeting hers. For the first time, he knew she was there. Why are you following me? He asked, his voice steady, calm as ever. Her heart jumped. She wanted to lie, to tease, to twist the truth. But the words stuck. She only whispered, I wanted to see you. The silence stretched. His gaze never wavered. She felt her throat dry. No one had ever made her feel so bare with just a look. You should not waste your time, he said softly. I am not a game. Then he turned and walked inside. Closing the door behind him, her hands shook. She pressed them against the cold wall. His words echoed inside her, not a game. That night she could not sleep. Her mind kept circling his face, his voice, his calm. She laughed bitterly to herself. She had meant to toy with him, but now she was the one caught in the net. Day after day, her dangerous curiosity grew. She found herself waiting for him in hidden corners, watching the way he spoke to others, the way he never raised his voice, the way his kindness was quiet but deep. Her friends noticed her absence, her people whispered. They asked why she looked distracted, why her glow seemed dimmer, but she had no answer. She only knew one thing: she wanted to be near the human. Always one evening when he left his room, she stepped in behind him without thinking. She touched his table, lifted one of his old books. The pages worn and fragile, she felt the life in it, the weight of his world. She whispered, Who are you, human? Suddenly his voice came from the doorway. You should not be here. She spun, her eyes wide. He was standing there. Not angry, not afraid, only calm as always. Her lips parted, but no words came. Her pride wanted to laugh. Her heart wanted to cry. She set the book down gently and whispered, I cannot stay away. For the first time, his eyes softened. A small flicker she almost missed. Then he said quietly, Then you are in danger. Her breath caught. Danger? She asked. He nodded, because obsession never ends well. She stood frozen, her glowing eyes locked on him, and for the first time in her long life, the alien beauty did not know if she was the hunter or the prey. The alien beauty could not stop herself. After his words, after that calm warning, her heart was restless. She told herself she would end it. She would walk away. But the moment she closed her eyes, his face came back, his voice echoed inside her. I am not a game, and yet she wanted to play. Not because she wished to win, but because she wished to stay close. The next morning she appeared in the same hall where she had first seen him. Her silver skin glowing under the lights, her gown brighter than before. Others turned to stare, but she looked only at him. The human sat in his corner, reading quietly as always. She walked straight to him, sat without invitation, and leaned closer than before, her perfume soft, her eyes sharp. You cannot push me away forever, she whispered, her lips almost touching his ear. He closed his book slowly, his eyes steady. Why are you here? He asked, her smile deepened. To make you see me, she said, her hand sliding across the table until her fingers brushed his. But his hand did not move, he did not pull away, nor did he return the touch. He simply looked at her with a calm that broke her confidence. I already see you, he said, but not the way you think. Her chest tightened. She leaned back, for the first time unsure of her own tricks. Her game of seduction was supposed to make him fall, yet his words twisted the fire inside her, turning it back on her. Later that day, she changed her method. She appeared at the market where he shopped, dressed simply, no glowing gowns, no shining jewels. She pretended to struggle with a heavy basket. Letting it slip from her hands, he bent down instantly, helping her collect the scattered fruit. His hands gentle, his voice calm. Careful, he said. You should not carry more than you can hold. She stared at him, her heart beating fast, no mockery, no hunger in his tone. Only kindness. She felt her chest burn. Her trick had brought her close, but not in the way she imagined. The following night she tried again, this time waiting outside his quarters. When he opened the door, she stepped in with a daring smile. Do humans not welcome guests? She asked softly. He sighed, but not in anger. He placed his book down and said, If you are here to play another game, then leave. Her pride told her to laugh, to tease, but her heart ached at the thought of him sending her away. What if I am not here to play? She whispered, her eyes glowing in the dim light. His silence was heavy. He looked at her long and steady, then he said, Then prove it. Her lips parted, but no answer came. Prove it. The words struck deep. She realized for the first time that he was not resisting because he hated her. He was resisting because he wanted truth. The days turned into weeks. Her games of seduction grew weaker. Every time she tried, his calm gaze broke her tricks. Every time she leaned closer, his steady voice cut through her lies. She found herself laughing less, smiling less. Instead, she found herself listening, watching, waiting for his words. She wanted him not to fall into her trap, but to accept her without it. One evening she prepared a final game. She wore no jewels, no glowing gown. She stood at his door with only her plain skin and her trembling heart. When he opened the door, she whispered, "I cannot stop thinking about you." He looked at her quietly, then stepped aside, letting her in. She entered his small room, her pride screaming inside her, but her heart stronger than pride. She sat at his table, her hands shaking. "You win," she whispered. "I tried to play, I tried to tempt you. But now I am the one trapped." His expression softened, but his voice was calm as always. "I never wanted to win," he said. "I only wanted honesty." Her eyes burned. She had never confessed weakness before, never shown truth, but here, with him, she felt stripped of every defense, and yet, as she looked at him across the table, she knew this was not the end of the game. It was only the beginning. Because now the alien beauty realized her own heart was no longer hers. It belonged to the human who had never played at all. The alien beauty had played many games in her life. She had broken hearts, bent wills, and walked away without a second thought. But now she felt something she had never known before. A weight inside her chest that did not leave. Even when she was alone, the human did not treat her as prey. He did not bow to her charm. He did not beg for her attention. Instead, he gave her honesty, calm, and silence. And that silence began to mean more to her than the loudest songs of desire. She started visiting him more often. Not in gowns, not in glowing lights, but in simple clothes. She would sit quietly in his small room while he read his books. At first she thought she would get bored, but strangely, she found peace there. The sound of his turning pages was softer than music, his calm breath steadier than any promise she had ever heard. One evening, as the lamp flickered low, she asked, "Why do you never ask me what I want?" He looked up, his brown eyes steady. "Because what you want is not always what you need." Her heart thudded. The words struck her deeper than any sharp blade. No one had ever spoken to her like that. No one had ever cared to see beyond her beauty. She pressed her hand to her chest and whispered, "And what do I need?" He closed his book slowly, his voice quiet but firm. "You need someone who sees you, not the mask you wear." Her glowing eyes softened. For a moment she wanted to cry. Something she had not done since she was a child. She realized he was not just resisting her seduction, he was pulling her out of it, showing her a side of herself she had buried long ago. The next days changed her. She walked less in the bright halls. She spent more time near his side. She asked him about his books, about his world, about the strange history of humans. He answered simply, without pride, but with warmth. At night she would dream of him, not as prey, not as a game, but as a light she could not reach. Her heart ached, her obsession deepened, and she knew this was no longer play. Her people noticed. Whispers spread across the station. The alien beauty who once danced in courts, who once controlled kings and leaders, was now seen walking with a human, not with power, not with pride, but with softness in her eyes. One night, a friend from her own kind stopped her in the corridor. "You are changing," the friend hissed. "This human is beneath you. He is dangerous for your name, for your people. Walk away before you lose yourself." She stared at her friend, but for the first time she had no answer. She only turned and walked on because deep inside, she knew it was already too late. Later that evening she entered the human's room again, but this time her hands trembled, her voice was weak. "They say I will lose everything if I stay near you." The human looked at her, his eyes calm. "Then why stay?" She swallowed hard, her glowing eyes wet with something she could not control. "Because when I am near you, I feel alive." For the first time, a small smile touched his lips. He reached across the table and placed his hand over hers. It was not a game, not a trap, not a test. It was simple and warm. Her breath caught. She wanted to pull away, she wanted to hide, but she could not. She held his hand tighter, her voice breaking. "You are changing me." He shook his head. "No," he said gently. "You are finding yourself." Tears slipped down her face. Glowing softly under the lamplight, she had never felt weak, never felt fragile, but here she was, breaking open in front of him. And he did not laugh, he did not turn away. He only held her hand as if it was the most natural thing in the world. From that night forward, the bond between them grew. She no longer sought to tempt him. Instead, she longed to be seen by him, truly seen, and every day, the alien beauty realized more and more. This was no bond of seduction. It was something far stronger, something she had never expected. But beyond the walls of his small room, the galaxy was watching, and not everyone would let this strange bond continue without a fight. The alien beauty once thought she controlled her own heart. She believed she could step close or walk away at will, but the human had broken that illusion. Now she found herself trapped in thoughts of him. Morning and night she carried his voice, his steady eyes, his calm smile everywhere she went. She began to dream of him when she closed her eyes. In those dreams she was not the proud beauty everyone admired. She was only herself, a fragile soul sitting in the glow of his lamp, listening to the turn of his pages, the sound of his breathing, the comfort of his hand on hers. But when she woke, her chest ached, because she knew she was falling into something she could not escape. Every day she searched for excuses to be near him. She lingered in the market when he shopped. She sat in the quiet hall when he read. She even stood outside his door late at night, her glowing eyes staring at the shadows under the crack, wondering if he was awake. Her obsession grew stronger with every heartbeat, and others began to notice. Whispers followed her wherever she went. She used to be untouchable, one alien muttered. Now she follows him like a shadow. She is losing her power, another hissed. Over a human of all things. The words reached her ears, but instead of anger she felt a strange thrill. Because they were right, she was losing power. But she was gaining something far more dangerous, need. One evening, as the stars burned outside the station's glass dome, she confronted him, her hands shaking. "Do you not see what you are doing to me?" she demanded. The human looked up from his book, his face calm as ever. "I am not doing anything," he said softly. Her voice cracked. "That is the problem." She stepped closer, her glowing eyes bright. "I tried to tempt you. I tried to make you bend, but instead you stand still. And now I cannot stop thinking of you. I cannot eat, I cannot rest. I cannot breathe without wanting to be here." Her chest rose and fell. Her pride shattered, but she could not stop the words. "I am obsessed with you," she whispered. The human's eyes softened, but his voice remained steady. "Obsession is dangerous," he said. "It can burn you alive." She laughed bitterly, her tears glowing on her silver skin. "Then let it burn." He stood slowly, closing his book with care. He walked closer and placed his hand gently on her shoulder. "You do not need to lose yourself," he said. But she shook her head, her voice trembling. "I already have." That night she stayed in his room longer than ever before. She sat by his side until dawn, her head resting near his shoulder, her breath catching every time his hand brushed hers. She did not want to leave, she could not leave. The next day, her people confronted her. Leaders of her kind stood tall, their glowing eyes sharp. "You shame us," they said. "You belong to no one, and yet you chain yourself to a human. End this, or we will end it for you." Her heart pounded, fear mixed with anger. But her voice was firm. "No," she said. "I will not leave him." Gasps filled the chamber. No one had ever defied them like this. Her obsession was no longer hidden. It was a fire for all to see. When she returned to him, her body shook. She told him of the warnings, of the threats. His eyes narrowed slightly, but his calm did not break. "Then you must choose," he said quietly. "Your world or your heart." Her tears fell, glowing like drops of fire. "Do you not see?" she whispered. "There is no choice anymore. I already chose you." The human's chest rose with a slow breath. His steady eyes locked on hers, and for the first time, his calm wavered just a little. Outside the walls of his small room, the galaxy whispered and plotted, but inside, her obsession grew stronger, brighter, unstoppable. She was no longer the hunter, no longer the player of games. She was the captive of her own heart, and the chains around her soul were forged by her own desire, and she welcomed them even if they destroyed her. The alien beauty's world was falling apart, yet she did not care. Her people's warnings echoed in her mind. Their threats were heavy, but nothing could pull her away from the human. The more they tried to stop her, the more her heart clung to him. She walked through the station like a shadow, ignoring whispers, ignoring stares. Her once bright presence now seemed fragile, but when she reached his door, she breathed again. Inside his small room, she found peace. The sound of his lamp, the smell of his old books, the steady calm of his eyes. It was the only place where she felt alive. But peace could not last. Her people grew restless. They did not like their prized beauty lowering herself. They feared her obsession would stain them all. Some spoke of exile, others of punishment, and one voice even whispered of ending the human's life. She felt the danger closing in. Every step outside his door was heavier. Every glance from her kind was sharper. She knew time was running out. One night she told him everything, her hand shaking as she spoke. "They are planning against you," she whispered. "They want me to leave you. And if I do not, they may hurt you. The human listened quietly, his face calm but his eyes dark. And what do you want? He asked, her glowing eyes burned with tears. I want you, she said, her voice breaking. Even if it destroys me. Even if it destroys everything, I cannot walk away. His silence was heavy. His steady gaze seemed to pierce her soul. Then he spoke. You are between desire and danger, he said, and the longer you stand here, the harder it will be to escape. She shook her head, gripping his arm tightly. I do not want to escape, she whispered. He sighed softly. Then you must be ready to fight. Her heart pounded. She had never fought for anything in her life. She had always been the one others fought for. But now, for the first time, she felt the fire to stand, not for pride, not for beauty, but for him. The following days were tense. Her people began to send envoys demanding she return, demanding she abandon the human. She refused every time, each refusal adding fuel to the anger around her. Rumors spread across the station. Some said the alien beauty had fallen under a spell. Others said the human had stolen her mind. But only she knew the truth. Her obsession was her own, and no one had taken it from her. One evening, when the stars glowed outside the dome, she stood with him in silence, her head resting near his shoulder. Do you regret me? She asked quietly. He turned his calm eyes toward her. No, he said, but I fear for you. Her lips trembled, she whispered. Then fear with me. Not for me. His steady gaze softened. His hand brushed against hers. You are stronger than you know, he said. Her chest ached, not from fear, but from the strange warmth his words gave her. She had never been told she was strong, only beautiful, only desired, but here he was, seeing something no one else ever did. The next day, the danger arrived at their door. 3 of her people stood waiting, their glowing eyes sharp, their voices cold. This must end, they said. Come with us now. Or watch him suffer. She felt her blood turn to fire. Her obsession flared into fury. No, she said firmly, stepping in front of the human. You will not touch him, the envoys sneered. You choose a human over your own kind? She lifted her chin, her glowing eyes blazing. I choose the one who sees me. The room fell silent. Her words hung heavy. Even the envoys stepped back, shocked by her defiance that night when they were finally alone. She collapsed against the human, her body trembling. I cannot go back, she whispered. Even if it kills me, I will not go back. He held her gently, his voice steady. Then we will stand together. She closed her eyes, her tears glowing on her silver skin. For the first time, she felt both fear and peace at once. Fear of what was coming. Peace in knowing she would not face it alone. Between desire and danger, she had chosen. And her choice was final. The galaxy could rise against her. Her people could curse her. But her heart belonged to the human, and nothing could take it back. The station was no longer safe. Whispers had turned into threats, and threats had turned into plans. The alien beauty felt the weight of her people pressing closer every day. She knew the moment would come when they would force her to choose, but deep in her heart, the choice was already made. She had surrendered, not to fear, not to her people, but to the human who had never tried to own her. He had given her nothing but honesty, and in that honesty she had lost herself. One night the knock came heavy against the human's door. Voices called out, cold and sharp. It ends tonight, come with us now, or we take him away. Her body shook, but she stepped forward before the human could answer. She opened the door and faced them, her glowing eyes burning. No, she said firmly, you will not take him. You will not touch him. They laughed, their voices filled with mockery. You speak as if you belong to him, one sneered. Have you forgotten who you are? Her heart raced, but her voice did not break. I have not forgotten, she said. I have discovered who I truly am. The human stood behind her, calm as always, his steady voice cutting through the tension. If you want me, then take me, he said. But she stays. Her chest tightened, tears burned her eyes. He was willing to sacrifice himself for her, but she would not allow it. She stepped in front of him again, her voice sharp. No, if you want him, you go through me. The envoys froze, their glowing eyes narrowed. This was not the beauty they had known, not the proud player of games. This was a woman willing to stand against her own kind. At last they turned and left, their silence more dangerous than their words. But she knew what it meant. They would return, and next time, they would not come with warnings, they would come with chains. That night she sat with the human in his small room, her head resting against his shoulder, her body trembling. They will never stop, she whispered. His hand rested gently on hers, his voice calm. Then we will not stop either. Her tears fell, glowing softly on his arm. I am not strong enough, she whispered. He turned his steady eyes to her. You are stronger than you think, he said. She closed her eyes, letting his words sink into her. Her obsession had once been a fire that consumed her, but now it was something else, something deeper, a surrender not of weakness, but of choice. The next morning, she walked openly beside him through the station, no longer hiding, no longer pretending. Every stare cut at her, every whisper stabbed her, but she kept her chin high, her hand brushing against his. Her people watched in silence, stunned. The beauty who once ruled them with her charm had chosen a path they could not understand. Later that evening, she stood before him in his small room, her silver skin glowing faintly under the lamplight. I have nothing left to give, she whispered. They will take everything from me. My place, my power, my name. He stepped closer, his hand warm as it cupped hers. Then give what they cannot take, he said gently. Her glowing eyes filled with tears. And what is that? He smiled softly. Your heart? Her breath caught. She pressed her forehead against his chest, her tears falling freely. It is already yours, she whispered. From that night forward, she surrendered fully. No more games, no more masks. She did not care what her people said. She did not care what the galaxy thought. All she cared for was the human who had never fallen for her seduction, but had captured her heart instead. And though danger still lingered outside their door, though the future was uncertain, the alien beauty had chosen her fate. What began as temptation ended as love. What began as a game ended as surrender, and now, the galaxy would one day learn the truth, that even the most untouchable heart could fall. When faced with a human who refused to play,